Hello and welcome to today's review of the Transformers Energon Steamhammer. Now, Steamhammer, right, just to get it clear, Energon did not have the modern day size classes, but, you know, Steamhammer by kind of modern standards is a deluxe. But it's weird because it doesn't quite have the engineering of what we'd expect from a deluxe. He's kind of more, I don't know, he's this weird middle ground between all of the other team members for him, which are kind of like a scout size-ish, and deluxe figures, you know? He's like this weird middle ground. Even in size, like comparative to some things, he is still a weird middle ground. We'll get to that during the size comparison, but generally speaking, this guy's alt mode is really cool, you know? I've been told this is like some box excavator thing. Yeah, it's very niche, but it's really nice, and I'm all for it. So he's got this kind of silver paint detailing on the shovel. He has paint detailing on this piston. These pistons, as you can see, they're like vacuum silvered or whatever. He has orange paint here, little Tampercraft Buildron symbol here, like the combiner thing or whatever. Purple kneecaps, black paint on the lower part of what becomes the legs. You know, it's just generally well done, you know. And this here, this is a combiner port. This is only featured, to my knowledge, on the Energon combiner teams, or Superlink if you've got Japanese sets or whatever. But yeah, generally, I'm all for it. This port also does mean they are kind of cross-compatible if that's something you're into. Personally, I won't be mixing up my sets. I have all three molds. It's Superion, Bruticus, Buildron. But yeah, here you go. So, for the vehicle mode size comparison, here we have Alternator Swindle, Energon Bone Crusher, Energon Dust Storm, Ralph, Steve. Now, generally, the scale between all of these is, well, you know, take away Swindle, and perfectly fine in my opinion. You know, they all go well together. Even if, now this might be an unpopular opinion or whatever, but I like it when a combiner team is kind of unique, right? You know, every figure brings something different to the table, whether it's a color scheme or a design philosophy, you know. See, even though my favorite combiner of all time is probably RID Rail Racer, those three figures kind of have a coherence to them. These Buildron guys, all they have in common is the fact they're construction vehicles. They're not sharing a color scheme by any stretch, even though three of them are green. They're all different shades of green, and they're combining green with other colors, so they're not coherent in a design sense. But in terms of the alt modes and the bot modes, they all kind of go together. So, you know, it's really cool. But yeah, cool stuff. So for the transformation on this guy, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take these little flap sections, as you can see, they're tabbed in there. You go fold them around onto the sides of the legs, like so. They're kind of on these ratchety joints. It's due to the fact there are little grooves on the side of this bit, so it kind of clicks as it goes around, which is welcome, you know, it's nice and stable, which is something I really appreciate about old Transformers. Just sturdiness and everything holding together. You go spin the waist, so hold up a second, spin the waist this way, turn at the thigh, there you go. We go back out a little bit. I just knocked the ring light, that's all that bonk was. Then we're gonna take this section. Oh yes, we're going to fold the treads out that way. Just had a truly bazinga moment. Take these sections, right, these kind of hip skirts, these are really cool, I like them. There you go, fold the arm down, it's double jointed. Bring that back, and voila, here we go. Your scheduled programming shall resume shortly. Just gonna edit this in. Now, hopefully you can see this, but Jesus, that is working light piping, right? Like, just imagine a figure having light piping that actually works. Like, only on old figures really, you know, because so many new figures either don't have it or it's pretty terrible.
We now return to the Transformers.
He's beautiful. He is absolutely gorgeous. Now, I did also, yeah, he has toes. There you go. So, yeah, I'm perfectly okay with this, you know. Now, do I have any complaints? No, not really, you know. Sure, you could argue that Scoop Hand over here is a bit weird. You know, he's asymmetrical, but, you know, it's kind of unique in Transformers, but I'm all for it. I'm all for it when it's not really negatively impacting anything, because, hey, you know, something like this still gets like a proper bend at the elbow, and, you know, the arm movement isn't being impeded. He just looks a bit funky, you know, but it's all for the better. So the overall articulation on this guy, because I don't have an awful lot to say about the paint job, you know. Now we have this purple and orange detailing with some silver highlights on the abdomen and the chest. You know, that kind of sticks out here. You got silver on the shoulders, but then everything else we talked about in vehicle mode. It's just an all-round lovely looking figure. So yeah, for the shoulders, you're going to go all the way around on both sides, which is pretty cool. We're going to go, instead of this assembly moving upwards, it's going to be this inner part of the arm that moves for the kind of outward 90. On the other arm, it's on a kind of hinged piece, like this universal joint. So it's actually going to go all the way up, which is more than welcome. But everything else stays the same. You got a biceps swivel, which is really well integrated. You've got a double jointed elbow, like so. No wrists or anything like that, but that's okay, given the fact he's quite old and he has like the other joints going on. It's perfectly fine for the size. Biceps swivel on this side. There you go. Elbow is pretty maximum. Then you've got the hinged bit on this hand. Yes, it's the scope, but it's also serving as his hand. And it opens and closes, so you can grab all sorts of whatever. Then, head on this guy doesn't really move. Like, it doesn't move much at all. It's just a very slight wiggle side to side. If you can't move in the panel as upward head movement, more power to you, right? But I don't. I'm not really bothered about it. But yeah, onto the legs. Let's lift open the kind of panels here. Actually, you don't need to, because the waist functions regardless, which is really cool. Why isn't this holding together? I don't know. Anyway, like, that's my only complaint about this. Just this not properly locking into place. Legs kick up at a 90. Back at a 90. They're on ratchets for the combined mode. Legs, if you move the hip skirts out of the way, you're going to get... Oh, wow, that's a bit annoying. Beautiful spread, which is cool. These are ratchets, so it's nice and stable. Knees are going to go slightly more than a 90. As you can see, there's a bit of curvature here. This is 90, that's a bit further. No ankles or anything else beyond that point. And the bicep swivel is kind of right above the knee joint. So yeah, there you go. At least it's there. And if you count the toe band, go on. You know, it's fine. For me, I think this is solid. So, for the robot mode size comparison, here we have Universe Deluxe Optimus Prime, Energon Sledge, Energon Wide Load, Titan's Return Wheelie, Ralph, Steve. Now, look, okay, I don't want to use this as an opportunity to complain about this Optimus Prime. But let's complain about this for a second. First of all, he's a deluxe, he's tiny, he's not a good figure. I have many things to say about Universe Optimus Prime. But, however, he does kind of show you that there is not much of a size difference. He's an old deluxe, he was fairly small for the time. But yeah, there's not much of a difference between him and Steamhammer. But then, Wheelie by comparison, even though coming out many years after, this was what Legends class became, and there you go. You know, it's still smaller than our basic Energon guys. So yeah, take from that what you will. As for the rest of these, we've seen the green team together before, and I'm cool with it. You know, it's pretty neat. Now, final thoughts on this. We're just gonna move those guys off. Goodbye. So, what do I think about this overall? Well, the articulation is very solid. Okay, I do have to add that. And we will start with the articulation on this guy. For his size, for his price point, of like £10 or whatever, yeah, cool. You know, I'm perfectly okay with this. This is a very interesting deluxe-ish, like deluxe-ish, right? You know, figure, and he's just gonna get like probably an 8, like due to things like the elbows, the fact he actually has a waist. The head movement's bad. The shoulders are, well, I mean, one side's really good, the other side is average, right? But then everything works as it should, you know, and you can count the knee, not knee. You can count the toe bend if you want, you know, it's there. You can count that as upward head movement. There you go, you know, so he's solid for both the time period and the size. The aesthetics on this guy are probably going to be like an 8 as well. It's good, you know, I love the color scheme more than the design itself, specifically for the robot mode. The vehicle mode design, I love it. It's not the most clean and polished thing in the world, but it's cool, you know, and giant shovel hand is unique. Then the value for money on this guy, it's good, you know, 8, I guess, right? He's just gonna be an 8 across the board. The transformation's an 8 as well. I like the way he squashes up, you know, it's cool stuff. I had someone comment on the short about a similar thing, the way he kind of compacts himself into the alt mode. It's very nice, you know, it's a welcome experience. And he kind of does the reverse of that to get into combined mode. So we'll cover that in the final review of the Buildron combiner itself. So overall, by the way, just 8 out of 10, right? Thank you for watching, and goodbye.